Mr. Yip Hon Weng.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I agree with the amendments to better protect public funds and to strengthen enforcement actions against any misuse or abuse of SkillsFuture Singapore SSG funding and programs. We have seen in 2017, a crime syndicate attempted to defraud SSG of nearly $40 million. In 2018, a HR consultancy tried to cheat SSG of $145,000. Just last year, SSG overpaid approximately $4.2 million of grants. As such, by making changes in the bills, we can avoid such incidents and ensure that our public resources are used effectively and for their intended purposes. I have several clarifications and proposals on the bills. First, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we can do more to improve the quality of training providers by better taking in feedback from users. It's heartening to hear that there are already different tiers of funding for training providers. Steps are also in place to remove funding and subsidies from courses which are deemed to be non-certifiable to better fund quality ones. Will the government consider setting up a dedicated channel for users to provide feedback to SSG on courses and trainers? For instance, users can provide feedback on courses from the relevance of the courses to their work to the quality of the trainers and teaching agencies. This is important because some of my residents in Yio Chu Kang have informed me that they were hesitant to use their SkillsFuture credits due to a lack of confidence in the quality of available courses. They may have heard anecdotal feedback from other students about courses being too basic or impractical. There is also no way to seek recourse if the training providers underdeliver or fail to match students' expectations. As such, I believe the government can do more to provide better quality assurance for SkillsFuture courses. This is so that more Singaporeans are willing to commit their credits, time, and energy to these opportunities and have the assurance that they will not be wasted. As of June 2022, only 29% of eligible Singaporeans aged 25 and above utilized their SkillsFuture credits for the year. Does the Ministry have more recent data on the total utilization for the year 2022? What is considered an acceptable outcome? Can we do more to assure Singaporeans that the quality of the SkillsFuture courses are worth spending their times and credits on? Second, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, more clarity is needed on the skills and roles of enforcement personnel. As enforcement personnel will receive additional investigative powers, where will they receive training in investigative skills? Will we leverage on industry professionals or the police to guide them? Why is there a need for authorized persons and inspectors? Well, these roles are differentiated by the need for routine versus intrusive investigative powers. Could they not be consolidated under the role of the inspector? Additionally, how does the agency identify suitable individuals to be authorized persons or inspectors? I've spoken to training providers who are concerned by the presumption of intention created by Clause 57C7. As such, I seek clarification as to the mechanics of the presumption and to understand the rationale behind the necessity of such a presumption. This is important as we do not wish to create a chilling effect on legitimate training providers who may otherwise be deterred because of the presumption. Besides the IHLs, are private training agencies audited every year on both the skills they provide and the claims that they file? Who is responsible for ensuring that they do not commit fraud? It's my understanding that in order to be a training provider under SkillsFuture, an organization must, unless otherwise permitted, be an organization registered in Singapore with the relevant authorities. What about foreign individuals or organizations who seek to provide training under the SkillsFuture scheme? If so, would their qualifications and expertise be subject to authentication or evaluation in order to ensure that they meet the necessary standards for providing training? Third, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we must also consider escalating the penalties and enforcement efforts for those who abuse SkillsFuture funding or breach its terms and conditions. I support the higher penalties recommended in the bill. In 2021, SSG took action against 93 training providers and companies for such infractions. Can the Ministry provide more information on the outcome of these actions? How can we use this experience to better calibrate the severity of the new penalties and to safeguard our public monies? In addition to increasing penalties, will the Ministry consider barring recalcitrant companies and their respective officers and creating a blacklist of companies with major infractions? We should also consider having a whitelist of companies that are seen as role models in the industry to make it easier for residents to choose a trusted provider. With regards to repayment of owed funds, are the provisions for recovery set out in proposed Section 57D(2)(b) of the proposed bill adequate? I note that an estimated $43 million of Skills Development Levy, or SDL, is still being owed to SSG. This is despite efforts to effect collection from 2015 to 2020. How does this bill ensure that SSG is able to improve the enforcement of recovering owed payments? Also, what steps have been taken to address this gap in enforcement? Enforcement of judgment debt in the civil court will incur time and costs. It will also be subject to the nuances of the various enforcement methods. For instance, this includes the issue of how recovered funds should be divided amongst various creditors. These funds are important for the foremost reason that the funds belong to Singaporeans and are necessary in supporting workforce upgrading as we increase our focus on continuing education and training. I believe the recovery of such wrongly dispersed funding should be made as seamless as possible. Such debts owed to SSG should also be given priority over other creditors. In conclusion, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we are facing a more fragmented and uncertain world. Even as we are coming out of the pandemic, we are seeing major nations engaging in big power contestations, both in the East and in the West. We would not have anticipated today's events, say 5 to 10 years ago. All these uncertainties and insecurities have major implications on important issues such as trade and digital connectivity and our place in the world. One undeniable response to the macro environment must be to evolve our education system. As a country with no natural resources, Singaporeans continue to be Singapore's best assets. We must ensure that our education system delivers and continue to deliver for the future. Our citizens must continue to engage in lifelong learning and respond to the larger environment. Lifelong learning is never easy. It requires the individual to be inquisitive, resilient, have an open mind, and go outside his comfort zone to master new skill sets relevant for the new environment. And this is an unremitting process: learning, relearning, and sometimes unlearning. Oftentimes, it requires sacrifice of time and effort. I know this from a first-hand experience. While I was doing one of my masters, I remember going off work at 6:30 to travel from my workplace in Buona Vista to Jalan Bahar to attend financial engineering classes at NTU and returning to office at 11 p.m. to finish up work. This happened 2 times a week for close to 2 years. I never regretted taking up the course. It has opened my mind to new knowledge and value and has helped me to develop new competencies to take up different responsibilities in my career. The proposed amendments to SkillsFuture will certainly support citizens in their lifelong learning journey. By increasing the regulatory power over adult learning providers, it gives more certitude to the public on the quality and integrity of Singapore as an education hub. A robust education system will prepare our people to learn for life. I support the bills. Thank you.
Person to 5 Delta. Propose to extend the time of this day's sitting beyond the total moment of interruption for a period of up to 30 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the debate be now adjourned.
The question is that the debate be now adjourned. Is please and say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, say no. ayes have it. The ayes have it. Resumption of debate, what day?
Tomorrow, sir. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that at its rising today, Parliament do stand adjourned to 1:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Motion is that at its rising today, Parliament do stand adjourned to 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. As many as of the opinion say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that Parliament do now adjourn.
Question is that Parliament do now adjourn.